Hello and many thanks for joining us on the news on NTA International. I am Chinenye Nwoye. First, let's bring you the headlines. President Bola Tinubu nominates 32 additional ambassadors. Nigeria moves to end raw material export wastage with 30% value addition bill. A natural crisis is deepening across Southeast Asia as death toll from floods and landslides rose beyond 400. Many thanks for joining us. Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Maitama Tuga has presented letters of credence to 5 newly appointed Nigerian envoys. The new appointees are Ambassador Olawale Emmanuel Awe as Nigeria's permanent representative to ECOWAS, Ambassador Meiru Musa Abbas as the Consul General Guangzhou, China, Ambassador N.O. Okeuche as Nigeria's Consul General to South Africa, Ambassador Ojo Olobode Steve, Consul General to Cameroon, and Ambassador Samalia Guni, the Chargé d'Affaires in Tripoli, Libya. The foreign minister charged the newly appointed envoys to be professional in promoting Nigeria's interests and foreign policy objectives. And President Tinubu has welcomed Nigeria's re-election to the Council of the International Maritime Organization, IMO, in Category C for the 2026-2027 biennium, describing the development as a strong endorsement of the country's rising influence in global shipping governance. The election took place on Friday, November 28, during the IMO General Assembly in London, marking Nigeria's return to the 20-member Category C Council after a 14-year absence. In a statement issued by his Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, President Tinubu said the victory reflects the international community's confidence in Nigeria's commitment to maritime safety, security, environmental protection, and adherence to global regulatory standards. The President commended the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adeboyega Oyetola, staff of the ministry, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, and the country's diplomatic team for their dedication, strategic engagement, and professionalism that secured the re-election. West and East Africa are facing political crisis. In Guinea-Bissau, as the military seized power and appointed a new prime minister, while in Tanzania, unrest following last month's elections continues to spark tensions. Adobe Obiechina reports.
The military in Guinea-Bissau took total control a day before provisional election results were due. President Umaru Sissoko Embalo fled to Senegal. On Friday, General Hotam Natam, the new military leader, appointed Ilidio Vieira Ter, former finance minister, and ally of Embalo as prime minister for 1-year transitional period. Natam urged unity, saying, "The people expect a lot. I hope the junta and the new prime minister will work hand in hand." The takeover has drawn global criticism. The African Union suspended Guinea-Bissau. ECOWAS froze its participation in regional bodies, and the UN condemned the coup as a violation of democratic principles. The EU called for a swift return of constitutional order. Meanwhile, in East Africa, Tanzania grassroots unrest linked to last month's election, where hundreds of protesters were killed. President Samia Suluhu Hassan was declared the winner with 98% of votes, but opposition leaders were jailed or disqualified. Security forces' heavy-handed response has drawn international attention. On Friday, Tanzania Foreign Minister Mahmoud Thabit Kombo urged diplomats to refrain from statements that could disrupt the ongoing inquiry into the unrest. Freedom of expression must be operated within the bounds of responsibility, he said. Political crises in Guinea-Bissau and Tanzania highlighted the fragility of the democratic process in the region as leaders and citizens await clarity, accountability, and stability. Adobe Obiechina, NTA News.
Natural crisis is deepening across Southeast Asia as death toll from floods and landslides rose beyond 400. Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and Malaysia are facing widespread destruction, stranded communities hoping to settle as rescue team continues. Again, Adobe Obiechina brings us details.
Relentless monsoon rain turned parts of Indonesia's Sumatra island into lethal terrain. More than 300 people are confirmed dead, with over 270 still missing. Roads have been swept away, villages cut off, and whole communities unreachable. Disaster Agency Chief Soharanto says emergency crew are pushing through collapsed routes, while cloud seeding operation continuing in West Samaranta to slow further rainfall. In southern Thailand, floodwater rose to nearly 3 meters in Songkhla province, killing at least 162 people. In Hatayel, the morgue overflowed, forcing hospital workers to store bodies in refrigerated trucks. Prime Minister Ontin visited the region, offered apologies and promised faster cleanup operation within 2 weeks. Malaysia has also been hit hard. More than 6,000 Malaysians trapped in Hatayel have been rescued, while officials in Perlis State confirmed 2 deaths. With water levels now receding in several areas, the scale of loss is becoming clearer, and humanitarian agencies warn that recovery needs will grow sharply in the coming days. In another development, Southeast Asia has been confronted with widespread flooding, the grief that follows another tragedies unfolding across the region. Hong Kong has entered a 3-day mourning period after a high-rise fire claimed 128 lives. Thousands gathered today to lay flowers and offer prayers near the burnt shell of Wang Fort Court in Tai Po, where the building burned for more than 40 hours. White and yellow flowers covered the ground as residents filed past in silence. Across the city, 18 condolence points opened for public. Chief Executive John Lee led a citywide movement of silence with flag half-masts and government events cancelled. China has also ordered a nationwide campaign to identify fire risk in high-rising building. Adobe Obechina, NTA News.
Pope Leo XIV was warmly welcomed by Muslim leaders at the Sultan Ahmed Mosque, popularly known as the Blue Mosque. He became the 3rd pope in less than 20 years to pray inside one of Islam's most iconic places of worship. On the 3rd day of his apostolic journey to Turkey, the 68-year-old pontiff made his first ever visit to a mosque since becoming leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. Later the same day, the Pope met with leaders of local Christian communities at the Syriac Orthodox Church of Moefrem in Istanbul. The gathering, described as a symbol of peace and unity, highlighted mutual respect between ancient Christian traditions. The Syriac Church traces its origins back to the apostles. Discussions centered on common challenges facing Middle Eastern Christians, particularly persecution and forced migration. And former President Goodluck Jonathan has just briefed President Bola Tinubu on the outcome of his mission to Guinea-Bissau. The former president was at the State House, Abuja, this Saturday evening. Former President Jonathan, who led the AU-ECOWAS election observation mission to Guinea-Bissau, was held up in the country after the military announced takeover of government control in the process of the presidential election. He returned to Abuja on Thursday. Speaking to our State House correspondent Musbau Dan Wahab after the traditional briefing behind closed doors, former President Jonathan advises the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government to deploy diplomatic means in engaging the military who have seized control of government in the former Portuguese colony. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent the names of 32 ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for confirmation, days after he sent the first batch of 3 names. In a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says in 2 separate letters to the Senate President, President Tinubu asked the Senate to consider and confirm expeditiously 15 nominees as career ambassadors and 17 nominees as non-career ambassadors. There are 4 women on the career ambassadors list and 6 women on the non-career ambassadors list. Among the non-career ambassador designates are Barrister Ogbonnaya Kalu from Abia, a former presidential aide, Reno Omokri Delta, former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, former Ekiti First Lady Erelu Angela Adebayo, and former Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. Others are Tasiu Musa Megari, the former Speaker of the Katsina State House of Assembly, Yakubu N. Gambo, a former commissioner in Plateau State, and former Deputy Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC. Professor Nora Ladi Dadut, a former senator from Plateau, Otumba Femi Pedro, a former Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Chief Femi Fani Kayode, a former aviation minister from Osun State, and Barrister Nkechi Linda Ufochukwu from Anambra State are on the nomination list. Also on the list are former First Lady of Oyo, Fatima Florence Ajimobi, former Lagos Commissioner Lola Akonde, former Adamawa Senator Grace Bent, former Governor of Abia, Victor Okezie Bazu, Senator Jimo Ibrahim, businessman, lawyer, and senator from Ondo State, and the former ambassador of Nigeria to the Holy See, Ambassador Paul Oga Adiku from Benue State. Among the nominees for career ambassador and high commissioner designates are Enebechi Monica Okuchukwu, Abia State, Yakubu Nyaku Danladi, Taraba, Maimuna Ibrahim Besto, Adamawa, Musa Abubakar Kebi, Sindov Pebi Ndoni Bayelsa, Chima Jeffrey Leoma David Ebonyi, and Mokolela Adeola Ibrahim Ogun. The other nominees are Abimbola Samuel Ruben Ondo, Yvonne Ehinosen Oduma Edo State, Hamza Mohammed Salau Niger State, Ambassador Shehu Barade Katsina State, Ambassador Ahmed Mohammed Munguno Borno State, Ambassador Muhammad Saidu Dahiru Kaduna State, and Ambassador Latunji Ahmed Sulu Gambari Kwara State, as well as Ambassador Wahab Adekola Okonde Osun State. The new nominees are expected to be posted to countries with which Nigeria maintains excellent and strategic bilateral relations, such as China, India, South Korea, Canada, Mexico, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, South Africa, Kenya, and to permanent missions such as the United Nations, UNESCO, and the African Union. All the nominees will know their diplomatic assignments after their confirmation by the Senate. Last week, President Tinubu sent 3 ambassadorial nominees for screening and confirmation. The nominees were Ambassador Ayodele Oke Oyo, Ambassador Amin Mohammed Al-Hatu Jigawa, and retired Colonel Latif Kayode Are Ogun State. All 3 are in the port for posting to the UK, USA, and France after their confirmation. Faction of the Labour Party may have reclaimed the authority after the Supreme Court judgment, which saw 2 factions laying claim to victory. The National Executive Committee meeting, convened by Julius Abure with INEC officials in attendance, affirmed the 2024 National Convention of the party. David Ire reports.
It was 4th of April 2025 when the Supreme Court ruled on the leadership crisis, which had turned the Labour Party into a war zone. The court on one hand ruled that the leadership crisis was an internal issue which should be resolved by the organs of the party, and on the other hand upheld the petition of Senator Nenadi Usman. Then the party became fully factionalized. With INEC fully on ground at this NEC meeting, Julius Abure may have taken full control again, with NEC reaffirming the Nnewi Convention of 2024, which the Nenadi Usman faction has said was not in compliance with the Electoral Act.
We have gone through the rough times, as is usual with political associations, and we're emerging out of it under their able leadership. The presence of INEC defines this sitting. It justifies our presence here. This is a renewed drive for reconciliation, and I'm here as a loyal party member to continue to open our arms to embrace new members, existing members, and all members to please come back and reconcile with the party for the national assignments ahead of us.
The NEC, after giving approval for the NWC to commence the conduct of congresses at ward, local government, and state levels, also filled the existing vacancies at the national level, with the former publicity secretary of the party and arrowhead of the Apapa-led faction, Comrade Abayomi Arabambi, returning to the mainstream as National Vice Chairman, Southwest.
Prince Febo Ruben, Assistant National Organizing Secretary, Barrister Eno Kikawa, Assistant National Women Leader, South.
So for those who are in support of this motion, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The party says it is fully back and set for the political games of 2027. In Abuja, David Irie, NTA News.
We earlier told you that former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan has just briefed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the outcome of his mission to Guinea-Bissau. The former president was at the State House Abuja this Saturday evening. Former President Jonathan, who led the AU ECOWAS election observation mission to Guinea-Bissau, was held up in the country after the military announced takeover of government control in the process of the presidential election. He returned to Abuja on Thursday. Speaking to our State House correspondent Musbau Dan Wahab after the traditional briefing behind closed doors, former President Jonathan advised the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government to deploy diplomatic means in engaging the military who have seized control of government in the former Portuguese colony.
The winner of that election must be announced. Well, they cannot kick out the military with force, otherwise people will die. But let us know the winner of the election. So what I'm asking the ECOWAS leaders to do is to reach out to the military leadership in Guinea-Bissau. Talk to them. They are human beings. They know the right thing to be done. First, for them to release the opposition man, because the man has not committed any offense. He didn't announce himself as a winner of election. If he has done that, they will say it was a treasonable offense. So there was no reason to arrest him. So they should release that man. Then they should announce the result. And if the military will agree, the person who won the election should be inaugurated as the president of the country. We are tired of this in Africa. We are tired. Every day is negative story, negative story. What happened in Guinea-Bissau? It is not what some people would say palace coup. It was not a palace coup. We know coups. Real coups, palace coups we know in Nigeria. This was not even a palace coup. I was looking for the appropriate word to describe. I couldn't get it. I described it as a ceremonial coup. It was a ceremony conducted by the head of state himself.
This is the news on NTA International. We'll take a breather here. There will be more reports when we return. This day.
You have no better friend and partner than Nigeria. Let this unveiling today be a call to conscience. Let our practitioners hold the line of truth. To the media, please inform with integrity and with a deep sense of patriotism. To our public officers, communicate with transparency. To citizens, please let us speak with empathy. Let us come together to become the voice of responsibility, the voice of the world that heals division, that inspires hope and drives development.
The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating the deduction of taxes and sundry charges from civil and public servants' earnings, including multiple bank charges levied on customers' accounts, as well as the practice of imposing VAT on already existing customers' accounts and the non-remittances of such monies to the appropriate government institutions or beneficiaries, is inviting stakeholders to an investigative hearing holding from Tuesday, 9th December 2025. Time, 11 a.m. prompt. Venue, Room 301, House of Representatives. The following stakeholders are invited. All memoranda should be duly certified by a federal high court and submitted in 15 hard copies with a digital version to the committed clerk on or before Thursday, 4th December 2025, in Room 301, White House. For more details, contact this number. Announcer, Honorable Kelechi Nwogu, Ad Hoc Committee Chairman.
Many thanks for staying on. Nigeria is moving to end the long-standing economic drain caused by exporting raw materials cheaply and buying back finished goods at painful cost. At a national sensitization in Abuja, the federal government declared that the proposed 30% value addition bill will be the turning point that forces local processing, protects jobs, strengthens industries, and finally stops the nation from losing value it can or should create at home. Justin Bem-Unyi reports.
In the first half of 2025 alone, Nigeria exported about 1.87 trillion naira worth of raw materials, a dramatic 159% increase from the same period last year. Even as experts warn that over 97% of agricultural exports still leave the country unprocessed, forfeiting the chance to earn up to 10 times more from finished goods. Just like selling palm kernels for 100 naira and later importing the same palm oil for 1,000 naira. The country has for years given away its wealth before it's even created. Nigeria is tired of exporting jobs, wealth, and opportunity. That was the central message as the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology and the Director General of the Raw Materials Research and Development Council led a national sensitization on the 30% value addition bill. The minister described this as a pact with poverty, urging lawmakers, industry and researchers to unite behind a bill that forces Nigeria to process at least 30% of its raw materials before they leave the country.
It's for me, and really it's not just about me, but for the entirety of Nigeria, it's one of the most significant moves towards industrialization of Nigeria, towards import substitution, and of course enhancing our production capacity.
To the ordinary Nigerian, here is what that means. Imagine Nigeria exports cassava the way we do now, raw. We earn little. Factories abroad do the processing and they hire their own people. But if this bill becomes law, at least 30% of that cassava must be processed here first. The Director General of RMRDC said this shift is Nigeria's chance to stop being just a supplier of raw materials and start becoming a producer of finished goods.
By commencing advocacy now, we are shortening the compliance learning curve. A mandate requiring 30% value addition is a significant structural shift for many exporters accustomed to shipping raw materials. It requires them to retool, secure technical partners, and adjust their supply chains.
Stakeholders at the event agreed that this will boost manufacturing, support SMEs, reduce import bills, and attract investors ready to set up processing plants in Nigeria. Justin Bem-Unyi, NTA News.
The Department of State Services, DSS, has invited the founder of Bayes University, Senator Yusuf Datti Baba Ahmed, for sustaining views perceived as inciting against the Nigerian state. There has been growing concerns over Baba Ahmed's recent public remarks on various media platforms bordering on his claims of a constitutional crisis. Baba Ahmed was said to be on national television, blaming the judiciary and the military for allowing the swearing-in of President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima. His inflammatory comments were said to carry undertones capable of heightening national tension, given the sensitivity of Nigeria's current political climate. It is also disturbing considering how similar narratives have contributed to instability in countries like Guinea-Bissau and other states. Such an invitation aligns with established protocols, especially as his description of efforts to improve the security of the nation as a joke could agitate public sentiment, weaken trust in state institutions. Ahead of the Yuletide, the Federal Roads Maintenance Agency, FEMA, has begun a nationwide implementation of a presidential mandate on safer and motorable roads through Operation Connect to Your Destination 3.0. Flagging off the exercise in Akwa Ibom State, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of FEMA, Chukwuemeka Agbasi, says the initiative was crafted to alleviate travel challenges experienced during the Yuletide. Clement Barikui reports.
Operation Connect to Your Destination 3.0, flagged off along Ekparakwa Zumini Ukem Road in Akwa Ibom State, is targeted at patching 10,683 square meters of potholes, 7,392 square meters of failed road sections, while 881 square meters of asphaltic overlay are expected to be completed across the 36 states of the Federation. This, according to the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of FEMA, Chukwuemeka Agbasi, will culminate in the restoration of 85.9 kilometers of roads nationwide. He says the intervention is fully in line with President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, which prioritizes infrastructure revival, economic stimulation, and improved mobility for citizens, insisting that FEMA is consistently fulfilling its mandate.
The aim of Operation Connect Your Destination is to give commuters that good experience on federal roads. The program also has socio-economic benefits, and part of this benefit is job creation. So it is anticipated or envisaged that at the end of this program, the agency would have created 1,722 jobs.
The exercise was witnessed by stakeholders who observe that by tackling critical road failures, enhancing connectivity and improving safety standards, FEMA is playing a defining role in keeping the nation's federal roads motorable. Clement Barikui, NTA News.
And this is where we end the news on NTA International. We thank you so much for being a part of it. I am Chinenye Moe.